Hey, it's Tara, your yoga bestie, and I'm so excited that you're here for today's practice. There's not really any props that you need today unless you just like to have them on your own. I like to have my 2 blocks all the time, so whatever makes you feel most comfortable. We're gonna start in a reclined space, so come onto your back and make yourself comfortable. So determine where you want your arms and legs to be. Maybe fidget into that space so that you find your exact spot. And we'll close our eyes as we start to tap into our ujjayi breath. So inhaling and exhaling through the nose, letting go of any thoughts or worries so that you can take this time to just check in with your breath, our energy source throughout our practice. And while you're tuning into that breath, we've been talking about the yamas in my class. The yamas are the first of the 8 limbs of yoga, and they're how we show up in the world. We're on the third of them, which is Asteya, which translates to non-stealing. But we're using it as I trust that there's enough. And our focus this week is spacious transitions. So Asteya invites us to leave space instead of taking more. And the place where this shows up the most can be transitions. So that final moment in between the poses that we maybe don't really even think much of can really affect how we flow in our practice. So there will be some opportunities to make sure that we're really clear on how we need to bend our knees, for instance, and things like that, so that we could transition in a way that is easiest and strongest. All right, on your next inhale, let's get a nice full body stretch. So we can extend the arms up overhead, can extend your legs out in front of you. Any other movement that feels good at this time, maybe moving the head from side to side, maybe making some rotations in the wrists and the ankles, just saying hello to your body. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet onto the mat. We're gonna bring our arms down by our sides with palms facing down, starting out our practice with a flowing bridge. So as we inhale, we'll push into the feet, lifting up those hips. At the same time, we're reaching the arms up overhead. So we're lifting up one vertebra at a time, so that in hopes that our arms come right overhead at the same time. As we exhale, we're bringing them down by our sides as we lower. And start creating a rhythm where you inhale and we lift, exhale, we lower. Moving through that just a few times. Yeah, one more of these. We inhale, lifting, exhale, lower. And then let's bring those knees into our chest. We'll give them a nice big hug, maybe rocking along the spine. And then we're just gonna make our way up to a tabletop position so we can rock and roll to where we come onto our hands and knees. And from this space, we're bringing the forearms down onto the mat. So we're gonna spread through the fingers nice and wide. And we're gonna play with lifting up those elbows and then lowering. And if you're able to do this at the same time, cool. If this is awkward for you and you're having to do this one at a time, that's just good information for later. So don't worry about then lifting and lowering. Maybe you find some cat-cow movement from this space. Yeah, and then we're gonna walk those legs back, coming into our Sphinx pose. So we can kind of rock those hips from side to side. Hey, buddy. And okay, it's a great pose for making out with your dog. Bring those shoulders back, lifting up through the chest and gaze. And then as we exhale, tuck your toes under, lift up those hips. And we're gonna start to walk those feet up, coming into a dolphin pose. So in our dolphin pose, we're gonna push our chest towards our thighs. You can have as big of a bend in those knees as you like as you work the tail up towards the ceiling. Taking a full breath in here. As we exhale, lower those knees and then lift up the torso for a variation of camel pose. So I'm keeping my toes tucked under, and we can place the hands behind the head, opening up here. As we exhale, we'll close, bring those elbows towards one another as we round the upper back. And just start to find a rhythm that works for you as you open and close here. Nice, and the next time that you open, hold here, breathing into the upper back and shoulders. Inhale, and then as you exhale, gaze straight ahead, step your right foot forward. And if you have blocks that you like to use, go ahead and have them nearby as we come into our runner's lunge. We'll start to shift forward and back from this space, just checking in with the body. And the next time that you shift it forward, hold it here. Moving into warrior three. So you can always keep any props underneath your hands if that's helpful to come into a supported version. Otherwise, find any arm variation that you like. Maybe having your hands onto your hips or hands at heart center. Take a full breath in here. And then as we exhale, bring your feet together and sit back into those heels for your chair pose. So we'll bring our hands to heart center right away because we're twisting, bringing that left elbow to the outside of the right thigh, shifting that weight back, so maybe playing with lifting up the toes, and work the shoulders back as you maybe gaze past your right shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale, gaze down. Maybe have a block for your right hand or a prop as we open up half moon the other side. So left arm and leg lift here. We're working that weight forward towards the ball mound of the foot. Big breath in. Exhale, big bend in that right knee. So this is that transition like we were talking about to where you can bring that back toe onto the mat and then shift to the back as we come into these side lunges. And we can move from side to side at our pace. Feel free to linger anywhere. We'll come to the back of our mats where we'll take a big breath in. And then as we exhale, face the back. So we're in a runner's lunge, but we're moving right into our exalted warrior. So arms can reach and then keep that right arm up as you bring that left arm behind, kind of leaning in towards that left side. Big breath here. Exhale, straighten the legs. Face the other way for a wide twist. So left hand comes down, right arm is up. And we can shift that weight forward so we're not sitting back into the heels, feeling the abdominals lift. Take a big breath in here. Got another transition for you. So soften that right knee. Bring those right toes to the front so you're coming into warrior two legs. And then we're reaching that left arm forward and then bringing it behind us to come into our warrior two. And maybe you bend and straighten here for a bit, just kind of finding your spacing. Next time you bend that knee, hold it here, full breath in. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down for a runner's twist. So left hand is down, right arm reaches up. We're moving into our side plank from here. So always have the option of lowering that back knee and extending through the right leg, or you can stack or bring one foot in front of the other. Big breath in. Exhale, bring your right forearm down, and we'll come into our forearm side plank, reaching the left arm up. So just like side plank, options to have that knee down and lift up, stack feet, or bring one in front of the other. Full breath in. Exhale, lower that left forearm down, and then lower the hips down as we find that Sphinx pose. So we'll just wiggle it out here. Big breath in. Exhale. And then as we inhale, draw the shoulders back, lift up through the chest and gaze. Exhale, tuck those toes under as we walk our feet up, coming into our dolphin pose. Full breath in here as we push our chest towards our thighs, tail up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower those knees down, setting up for our camel pose. So hands come behind the head for this variation as we start to open and close here. Maybe with some more fluidity since we've already been here. And then next time that you sit back, open up through the chest, big smile. Exhale, we gaze straight ahead. Left foot steps forward. We're moving into runner's lunge, so you can always have those blocks again if that's helpful. And we'll start to shift forward and back here. Next time we shift it forward, warrior three, so that supported version, or find any arm variation that you like. As you flex through the right foot, shifting that weight forward, feel the abdominals engage as we inhale. Exhale, feet come together, chair pose. So go ahead and bring your hands to heart center right away. And as we exhale, we're twisting towards the left, taking that right elbow to the outside of the thigh. Working those shoulders back, maybe gazing past the left shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale, we gaze down. Maybe we have our block here for our left hand as we open it up to half moon. So right arm and leg lift. Flexing that right foot like you're placing a big footprint on the back wall. And then that big transition, so bend that left knee a lot to find that toe. And then we come into that side lunge, moving from side to side. Next time we're at the back, we'll hold it here and then face the back, moving into exalted. So left arm reaches up, right arm comes down as we lean in towards the right side this time. Big breath in. Exhale, we straighten those legs, bringing the toes to the other side. And then right arm is down, left arm is up for this wide twist. Full breath in. Exhale, soften that left knee. Bring those toes towards the front for warrior two legs, and then reach that right arm forward and then bring it back behind you for warrior two. And we might find that bend and straighten here. Next time we bend, hold, inhale. Exhale, cartwheel it down, runner's twist. Moving into our version of side plank. So know that you always have the option of lowering the knee of that bottom leg. Take a big breath in. Exhale, lower that left forearm down. Coming into your forearm side plank. One more breath in. Exhale, lower that right forearm down, and then lower those hips down. Sphinx pose. Take a moment just to check in with your body. Take a big breath here. Exhale. Now we're going to move into our dolphin pose. And remember when we were in that tabletop variation with our forearms down and we lifted up those elbows? If that worked for you before, maybe see how it feels here as we find our way into our first down dog of the practice. I know, so many dolphins, no down dog. Taking a big breath in. Exhale, soften the knees, gazing forward as we step or float to the front. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale into our forward fold. Let's reverse it up. As we exhale, come right back into that forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen. Hands plant, gazes forward as we step or float it back. We can lower all the way down or hover with muscle. Inhaling into our cobra or maybe up dog. Exhaling down dog. Full breath in. Exhale, soften those knees, gazing forward as we step or float to the front. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, forward. Let's reverse. Reaching up and back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, halfway. Hands plant as you step or float it back, making your way to down dog. Big breath in. Exhale, soften those knees, gaze forward as you step or float. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, forward. One more of these, let's reverse. Reach it up and back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, we lengthen. Hands plant, gaze stays forward as we step or float. Making our way to our down dog or any resting position of choice. How you doing? I hope you're doing amazing because we just finished our warm-up. That's right, but the good news is, if you're new to my class, we do almost all of the poses in our warm-up for our two main sequences that I teach that I call peanut butter and jelly. So peanut butter we do 3 times, jelly we do 3 times, and at the end we have the most delicious peanut butter and jelly sequence sandwich, which is my favorite part of the practice. So today we're going to come to the front of our mats to start out for peanut butter. So get a drink of water, get whatever you need, and meet me there. And as we come into this space, we're going to draw the shoulders up, back, and down. Opening up through the chest, maybe closing the eyes for a moment, checking in with that breath. So feeling the expansion through the side bodies as you inhale, feel it draw in as you exhale. And we are taking what we need, right? Because we know that there's enough. And we are looking at our spacious transitions. All right, let's do this. Peanut butter. Inhale, chair pose. Hands come to heart. And as we exhale, we're twisting towards the right. So left elbow to the outside of that right thigh as we sit it back. Really working those shoulders down. Full breath in. Exhale, we gaze down. Half moon. So right hand is down, left arm and leg lift. Opening it up as we flex through that left foot. Full breath in. Exhale, softening that right knee all the way to that side lunge to the back. So we're not moving from side to side like the warm-up. And then we face the back. Inhale, exalted warrior. So right arm reaches up as left arm comes down, leaning in towards the left. And then as we exhale, straighten through the legs, wide twist. So left hand is down, right arm reaches up. Big breath here. Exhale, soften that right knee, bring those toes to the front, and then swim that left arm forward and bring it behind you for warrior two. Big breath in. Exhale, cartwheel it down, runner's twist to our side plank. Inhale. Exhale, lower that right forearm down, forearm side plank. Big breath in. Exhale, left forearm comes down, and we walk it right up to our dolphin pose, and then down dog. So maybe lifting up those elbows right away, or maybe we keep the knees down and then bring the hands onto the mat. Bend the knees, gazing forward as you step or float. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, forward. Inhale, chair pose, hands to heart. Exhale, we twist, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Sitting it back into those heels, we take a full inhale. Exhale, gaze down. Half moon, so right arm and leg lift as we open up to the side. Big breath here. Exhale, big bend in that knee, all the way to that side lunge to the back. And then we face the back for exalted. Left arm is up, right arm is down, softening that forward knee. Inhale. Exhale, straighten, wide twist. So right hand is down, left arm reaches up. Keep shifting forward as we inhale. Exhale, soften that left knee, toes go towards the front, and we swim that right arm forward and back for warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel it down, runner's twist, going right into our side plank. Lifting up those hips. And then left forearm comes down. Right arm is up for our forearm side plank. Inhale. Exhale, lower that right forearm down. Walk it up. Dolphin to down dog. All right, you're doing amazing. Big breath in. Exhale, soften those knees as we gaze forward. We step or float. Maybe we sit right into that chair pose and then hands come to heart. Exhale, we twist. We'll gaze down, right hand down. Inhale, opening up to half moon. Exhale, big bend all the way to the back of the mat. And then we face the back. Inhale, exalted, right arm up, left arm down. Exhale, we straighten for wide twist, where we inhale, reaching that right arm up. Exhale, soften the knees, we bring the toes forward, and then come all the way into our warrior two on the inhale. Exhale, cartwheel it down. We inhale, can go right into your side plank. Exhale, right forearm comes down. Inhale, forearm side plank. And then left forearm comes down. We walk it up, dolphin to down dog. Bend those knees, gaze forward. See if we can float right into our chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, we twist, right elbow to the outside of the thigh. Gaze down, so we inhale, opening up half moon. Exhale, big bend in the knee, all the way to the back of the mat. And then we face the back. Inhale, exalted, left arm is up. Exhale, we straighten, and we bring those toes towards the side as we come into our warm twist. Left knee bend, those toes face forward as we swim all the way into warrior two on the inhale. Exhale, cartwheel it down, side plank to forearm side plank. Bring that arm down, walk it up, dolphin to down dog. Bend those knees, gaze forward, float into your chair pose, and we twist to the right, left elbow to the outside of that thigh. We gaze down as we inhale, opening it up, half moon. Exhale, big bend all the way to the back, and then we face the back. Inhale, exalted, right arm is up. Exhale, we straighten. Inhale, wide twist. Exhale, bend that knee. Inhale, moving into warrior two. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, side plank. Exhale, forearm down. Inhale, forearm side plank. Exhale, walk it up to your down dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward. We land in chair pose and we twist to the left. Gaze it down. We inhale, half moon. Exhale all the way to our back of our mat. And then we face the back. Exalted, left arm is up, right arm down. Exhale, we straighten. Right hand down, left arm up, inhale. Exhale, bend, coming all the way into our warrior two. Exhale, all the way to side plank. And then we lower. Forearm side plank. And then we bring that right forearm down. And then we lower our hips and splat. How are we doing? I hope so amazing, because that is peanut butter. You did it. We made it through peanut butter. Biggest part sometimes is just getting to jelly. So get your drink of water or topo. Take a moment to check in with your breath. We're starting out in Sphinx pose for jelly. So make your way there. Spread through the fingers nice and wide. Find a little bit of a wiggle. And we'll work our shoulders back as we lift up through the chest. And take a moment just to kind of move your head from side to side. Maybe draw that chin in as you rotate from side to side. And take a full breath in here. Exhale. On our inhale, we're bringing our shoulders back, lifting up to the chest and gaze. Exhale, tuck those toes under and lift up those hips for dolphin pose. So, option, if you don't want to stay in dolphin pose because it's hard. Like, the best thing about dolphin pose is that it's so hard that it makes you kind of release some of the fear for going into an inversion. And fear is the biggest blocker of an inversion, period. Just the fear. So, how can we look at this as play when we try? We're moving into headstand. So, we have our forearms like this already. We have to lower our knees to change that. So we're going to bring our hands to where we meet opposite elbows, and then the hands come together. This triangular shape is one of the most important aspects of the entire pose, which is headstand. Before you try any of this, we need a pinky swear that you're not going to jump up into this, because your head is on the mat, which means when you jump up, it's getting into your neck. We're not doing that. So if it doesn't work, we're going to build up strength to get there. So, no jumping up, no momentum. So we got our opposite elbows. We're creating this like really nice triangle pose. And we're taking our thumb in between our eyebrows. Wherever our index finger meets, that's about the spot that you want the basket. So what I mean by that is no forehead on the mat. You are gazing straight back, right? And you're being held and cradled by your hands this way. We then will walk our feet up. And we might just lift up our legs one at a time. That might be plenty. As you're doing this, can you push away the mat so much that you could easily pick up your head? Because that is what the feeling is like. You're not all leaning into it. You want to really draw your shoulders up towards the ceiling. And then maybe you start to lift up and you bring the legs together. This is the strongest version that you can find and the hardest version of it because it's heavy. But you keep pushing away, and when the legs work together, it's much easier to lift up into your headstand. Now, just because I said this doesn't make it feel easy when you're trying it. If you're going to try it against the wall, you want your hands right up against the wall. And you want to be able to bring yourself as close to the wall as possible, but you don't want to bring your legs there. You don't want to banana yourself. So if you're playing with the wall, you might also have blocks here so that you can feel a little bit more of that space there. And then you can be like, okay, the wall's there, but you play with the idea of lifting up. And if that's not your jam today, dolphin pose or child's pose. So we're in dolphin. And from dolphin, we lower those knees for our camel pose, where we have our hands behind our head and we inhale opening and we exhale close. And then we open it up here, bringing our gaze straight ahead as right foot steps forward, and we move into warrior 3. You can move your arms to wherever you like. They don't have to stay there. Taking a big breath in here. Exhale, bend that right knee a lot, finding that transition by bringing the toe down and then the knee down. And then we walk our hands to the outside of that right foot, coming into our cow face leg. So we're stacking knee on top of knee. If that doesn't work today, come in more of a twist type of shape. And then walk towards the back of your mat and feel that space along the side body. It's pretty nice. Take a big breath in here. Exhale. And then we come back up and we walk our hands towards the front of our mat and we unravel our legs to where we face the other side in this wide forward fold. We're not staying here though. We're bending that knee and we're walking to the back of our mats and we're moving right into Sphinx pose. So we can bring those forearms down, we can bring that back knee down, and then we can bring ourselves here. So we're getting up and down on the mat still. So find that little shimmy, working those shoulders back, taking a big breath in as you lift up. Exhale, tuck the toes under, walking those feet up for your dolphin. So another opportunity to become fearless and not stay in dolphin pose, because dolphin pose is hard. So maybe try the headstand if that was working for you. If you're like, headstand, got it, and you're wanting to play around with your forearm balance, then the way I like to do it is I keep my hands together, but you can always ravel the fingers like headstand, or you can keep those arms to where they're just parallel like this, like we do in dolphin pose. My best recommendation, you can kick up in this one, by the way, because your head and your neck is not an issue in this aspect. So we're lifting up, we're reaching one leg up towards the ceiling and keeping it as straight as possible. Bottom leg can bend, and the name of the game is seeing if you can kick that straight leg. What happens when you do that is you stack and your hips start to go over your shoulders, which is where you feel the lightness of the inversion. Because once you find that stacking, it's so much easier than you ever thought it was. And you realize it was all here in the first place. So again, you can do this at the wall if that's what you're feeling. But I encourage you to just try to keep one leg as straight as possible and then just try to kick the other one up. And it's very light kick. It's not really like crazy like you're gonna fall over. However, if you're ever falling over in any of these, bring your chin in towards your chest so you keep a nice long neck. All right, from our dolphin, we bring those knees down, perfect. And then we come into our camel. Inhale here, exhale, we'll close. Inhale, we lift, and then left foot steps forward as we move into our warrior 3 with whatever arm variation we like. We're shifting that weight forward. Big breath in. Exhale, bend the knee a lot, that transition where we bring the toes down and then the back knee down. And then we walk our hands to the outside of that left foot as we find our cow face legs or a seated twist variation. This time we walk our hands towards the front of our mat as we breathe into that side body. And we'll take a full breath in here. Exhale. We unravel by walking towards the back of the mat and then coming into this wide stance where we soften the knee and then we walk to the front of our mats, making our way to our Sphinx pose. And we'll start to pick up the pace now. So we'll inhale, lifting up to the chest. Exhale, tuck those toes under and walk it up to your dolphin pose. We lower those knees. Hands come behind the head as we inhale. Exhale, we close. And then we gaze straight ahead, right foot forward, warrior three. Exhale, soften that knee for the toes and the back knee to lower. And then we walk our hands to the outside of that right foot for our cow face legs. We'll stay here a full breath, so maybe you walk to the back as we inhale. Exhale. And then we walk to the front to unravel the legs into that wide stance where we soften the left knee, and then we come to the back for our Sphinx pose. Inhale, lifting up through the chest, shoulders back. Exhale, tuck the toes under, walk it up to dolphin pose. We lower those knees as we inhale, camel. Exhale, close. Inhale, we lift, left foot forward as we move into warrior three. And then big bend as we lower the toes and knee. And then walk our hands to the outside of the left foot for cow face. Maybe walk to the front as we take a big breath in. Exhale. Walk it to the back to unravel, wide stance. And then we bend the right knee as we make our way to our Sphinx facing the front. You're doing great. Inhale here. Exhale, tuck the toes under, walk it up for dolphin. We lower those knees as we inhale, camel. Exhale. Inhale, we lift. Step that right foot forward as we inhale, warrior three. Exhale, bend it all the way down. Walk it to the outside of that right leg to come into your cow face. Maybe walk it to the back for a full breath in. Exhale. We unravel. Wide stance. Softening that back knee as we walk to the back. Moving into our Sphinx pose here. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, tuck it under. Dolphin. We lower those knees as we inhale, camel. Exhale. And then we lift, left foot forward as we inhale, warrior three. Exhale, lower it all the way down. And then we walk to the outside of the left leg, coming into our cow face. Walking our hands maybe forward as we inhale. Exhale. And then unravel it. Right knee bends as we come to the front. And we can lower those knees down because jelly is done. Which means we've come to my favorite part of the practice. Are you ready? Whoa, my hair looks amazing. Inversions do that. Just know, when you invert, your hair's gonna look crazy. But back to peanut butter and jelly time, because I'm so excited about it. And that means we're doing this one last time. Are we ready to do this? Are we so excited? I can feel it. So let's meet at the front of our mats. We're trusting there's enough, and we're making space for transitions. And we're drawing those shoulders back. Take a big breath in here. Exhale. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, we twist to the right. And then we gaze down. Right hand comes down as we inhale, opening up into our half moon. Big bend as we softly land all the way to our back. And then we'll face the back. Inhale, coming into our exalted. Exhale, we straighten for that wide twist as we inhale. Exhale, bending that knee, bring those toes forward as we move into warrior two. And then we cartwheel it down. Side plank to forearm side plank. And then we bring that forearm down. We walk it up to our dolphin pose where we lower the knees. And we inhale. Exhale, close. Inhale, lift, right foot forward as we come into our warrior three. And then big bend all the way down as we walk to the outside of that right foot for our cow face legs. Maybe walk it to the back. Big breath here. Exhale. We unravel. And we bend that left knee as we come to the back of our mats for chair pose. Inhale here. Exhale, we twist to the left, so right elbow to the outside. So yes, we're twisting the same way. We gaze down. Left hand comes down as we inhale, opening up to our half moon. Exhale, really big bend in the knee as we come all the way to that side lunge at the front. We face the front. Inhale, exalted, left arm is up. Exhale, we straighten. Inhale, runner's twist. Exhale, bend that left knee, toes will face the back as we come into our warrior two. And then we cartwheel it down. side plank to forearm side plank. And then we bring that down to where we can walk it up to our dolphin. Knees lower as we inhale, lift. Exhale, close. And then we lift left foot forward. Inhaling warrior 3. Exhale, big bend all the way down. Walk it to the outside of that left leg as we come into our cow face legs. Maybe we walk it to the front, feeling that side body stretch. And then we unravel. We bend that right knee. And we make our way to the front of our mats because you did it. Nice work. We'll meet in a seat and just take a moment to check in, see if there's anything you need from this space. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you come into a reclined space like we started out our practice. Whatever you feel like you need. But see if you can just kind of shut down the eyes, check in with your breath, be really intentional with the breath, and take a moment just to put a big smile on your face because you did amazing. You're just so amazing. Be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. And just allow yourself to find a few moments of stillness in our Shavasana. As always, feel free to stay here as long as you like. Otherwise, start to find some small movements, awakening from this space. We can meet in our seated position, hands to heart, tucking the chin under. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, for showing up to your mat, for practicing Asteya or trusting there's enough, and making space for transitions. Until next time, namaste.